same time. Oh,
Here we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Never Alone Live. Today we have a very special guest, Nicole. Nicole is Nicole Victorious, right? Nicole
right.
Victorious. That's my favorite name in the world. And our topic today is sober and victorious. So I think this is the perfect setting. The perfect setting for greatness today, Nicole. As always, we have Krista, I'm Johnny, and Nicole. Come on, tell us about Nicole.
All right. Nicole was a spoiled, rotten, only child who never really had any type of problems. Guys, I've never even smoked a cigarette. And before it was over, I was one of the worst IV junkies that I've ever known or I've ever witnessed or seen. Uh, I'm a product of the opioid crisis. In 2000, I slipped and fell when I was 7 months pregnant, and I was trying not to land on my tummy. So my kneecap went to the back of my leg. And when I hit the ground, it broke in three pieces. And then the bone cut my patella tendon all up. And I had a decision to make. Do I want to be crippled, or do I want to go ahead and have my son? And his lungs weren't ready. I didn't have to think about that. I was like, we're going to risk being crippled. That's what we're risking. And so I gave birth with my leg broken. I call it the National Lampoon childbirth delivery. I had a grown woman holding this leg up, and I'm holding on to this one. And Colby was born healthy, and that's what matters. But it was the beginning of the opioid crisis where things weren't regulated. And my starting dose was two OC 80s with Percocet Breakthrough and Xanax bars. Don't forget the somas, and Ambien to sleep at times. Uh, and it just took off and changed my whole entire world. I married into organized crime, and nearly I nearly got killed. It was extremely abusive. Very, very, very abusive. I feel like domestic violence is just as big of an addiction as, heroin and anything else, because people don't realize you get hooked on that person. Uh, and it was very difficult. I was raised in an amazing family, and my daddy taught me how to be treated by a man. So when I got hit the first time, I didn't process it correctly. I knew it was wrong, but I pitied him. I'm an empath. That's another thing about me. I'm very, very empathetic. I've never made fun of anybody in my life. I'm a kind person. And now I try to inspire. Do you want me to go through like my actual testimony, or did you just
Well, let's stop there. We're gonna come
okay.
back.
All
Just
right.
because some of the things you said that your story is amazing because you've got so much to it, and I think everyone can relate. And we've got some of our friends joining that I want to shout out real quick. Mike from SoberHats.com. Let you see the hat that I'm wearing. It says sober. Period. That's all that matters. That's our boy Mike, and then Katie Graham found us, and our friend Tiffany from Canada's in here, and I think Tiffany's watched every single one of our live streams. So we love Tiffany, and thank you so much. And Nicole, I've got questions already, but I'm not gonna go too crazy today. I just want to just point out to everybody who's listening or going to listen later, how just listen as we listen to these stories. We find the things that we relate to and not compare. We don't want to compare. And you started talking about the opioid stuff, and now they make all those movies and docu-series about it. So it's a pretty big part of American history now, the stuff that you were doing. So we're going to jump right back in. Let's talk about what happened then, because I'm very intrigued because I've seen some of the things because you've gone to penitentiary and
Uh,
the charges that you talked about in one of your videos.
yeah,
This is when we are not a glum lot, and I can't wait to hear about this one.
yeah, yeah. My charges are interesting. I'm a third time convicted felon, but felony number one was just possession of stolen goods with my ex-husband. Felony number two is pharmaceutical fraud. But felony number three was 37 counts of simple burglary. And James Burton, who is Elvis Presley's guitar player, was a client of mine. I was a medical esthetician while I was a functioning addict. And so I worked on movie sets, and then James Burton would perform at the casino where the spa was where I worked. So I knew him and his wife. And so, yeah, it was $35,000 worth of Elvis Presley memorabilia.
Wow.
Yeah. That we yeah. So that we did to pay for drugs. I talked about my parents and my dad, and no judgment for anybody else. But when it came down to it, I couldn't sell my body. So I just was like, I'm going to be a criminal. And so I went that route with it. And, I ended up in prison, but prison saved my life. Um, it was a direct encounter, and we'll get to that as we get further on into the live stream.
Okay, so $35,000 worth of Elvis memorabilia. So that's 38 different counts of burglary.
Yes, but I am from the fine state of Louisiana, and when you hear that many counts, you think that many break-ins. And what they do is they count the items, and that each item is a count. So that's how many um, items they had. And I was so naive to the system because even though I had two felonies, I had never spent the night in jail. I would show up with the bondsman and within an hour be out. But I was an in-state fugitive when they got me on the burglary charges. So I knew I couldn't bond out. And I was absolutely terrified and then confused when they said I had that many counts. I'm sitting here like, wait, what? Like that? No. But then I understood how it worked. I was just very naive.
Gotcha. Okay, we got a couple of things. So we asked everybody where they're from in the comments, and our boy Mike is from Delaware, and Katie. So Katie is one of our friends from TikTok, and we do a live TikTok
Katie
thing at
Bugs.
10 a.m. Eastern. She's Katie Bugs there. She was on our Zoom last night. She had a different name there. She's got 3 aliases. I'm gonna her new name is Katie Alias.
That's
And
what we do. Okay.
we love her. See now, oh yeah, you were talking about being an empath, and you've never talked trash about anybody. I'm from South Side Chicago, and trash talk is our love language. So, and we've got a few people from the UK. Glenn is from UK. We had another from London Nicole is from London, and Vincent, who comes on here regular from KC, Missouri. One of our friends from TikTok, Karen Land. She's a Louisiana person as well. I bet you guys were Sullies.
We could have been. We're in Louisiana.
I don't know.
We'll find out. If she comes on here, I'm going to jump right on it, and I'm going to ask her where she's from and if she was ever in the same penitentiary as you. Okay, so you're in penitentiary after $35,000 of Elvis memorabilia. How much would you have gotten for the Elvis memorabilia? Would you have gotten 35 grand worth, or was it more?
Well, okay, so I'm just going to be honest about that. The thing that they didn't catch was worth a lot of money. Okay, everything that they found, I don't feel like it was worth that much. What the super expensive items had been rid of, and but I remember sitting there, and I had a court-appointed attorney because my family was not going to help me. They were trying to save my life, and the court-appointed attorney looked at me and he said, I feel so sorry for you because they have to have a guilty uh, verdict here to get the insurance money that they're claiming. And I just, don't see how what they listed was worth that. Ironically, had they caught a few things, it would have been way more than that, but it didn't work out that way. The stuff that they had, there's no way it was worth that. But I got lucky, if you get what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Well, I got one other shout out real quick. My friend Lori says Dyer, Indiana. So Lori, it was my old neighbor.
Oh.
Lori lived next door to me, and now she's on here listening to us. I love you, Lori. Okay, so you go to penitentiary, and is that where you found recovery?
No, well, yes and no. So it goes like this. My family took my children because they thought that it would make me get sober. And it's not that easy. I was the last 5 years of my addiction, and before I say any of this, I do not judge anybody on Matt. Recovery is personal, and everybody knows what works for them. In my case, Subutex was the worst thing for me, and I wasn't using it for recovery. So it was just a really bad deal for me. I was actually injecting, and also loved benzos. Was around 10 to 12 bars a day is what I was taking, and every year around December, it's Christmas. I'm missing my family. I would think about getting sober. So on December 23rd, I threw out all my subs and I kept my Xanax because I would have seizures. And I actually left my boyfriend, went to stay with a friend, and I was like, look, give me the Xanax to help me get through the sub withdrawal. And I really want to change. But I never could get past day 3. Day 3 would hit, and it was like, I mean, just the worst. And so day 3 has hit, and the song, the Black Beatles song from 2016, that girl is a real crowd pleaser. You know what I'm talking about? It was playing on the radio. I'll never forget it. It's on the radio, and I'm starting to get sick. And I just stood up and I screamed at God. I was like, I dare you to show up if you're real. I dare you to do something. If it's not too late, show up and save my life. I won't fight you. I've escaped mental wards, rehabs, hours through the Kisatchie Forest. Nothing could hold me. I was like, I will do it your way. I just dare you to show up. And in that moment, my friend came running down the hall. She said, Nicole, the house is surrounded. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, you got jokes.
Oh,
Because I was an in-state fugitive. I knew I couldn't bond out. So he answered me, and I was to cooperate. So did I find it there? Yes, but I was praying for it during the apprehension, and was prepared for I thought I was prepared for what I was about to go through. I'm glad I didn't know how how serious it was going to get.
wow.
So Megan is in the background. You talk with Megan. Megan works with us at Never Alone Recovery, and she's so awesome, and she's on top of everything. And she just ruined my surprise right now. I don't know if you guys can see the comments, but she wrote a giveaway is on the way. Giveaway is on the way. I love giving out free stuff on this live, so we're gonna give something away here at the end of the live. We're gonna keep it a surprise for now, Megan. But this is so phenomenal, so phenomenal. And everybody's got stuff in common, right? And we all have institutions, jails, in our stories. I woke up in jail on January 6, 2004, looked in the mirror and said, I don't want to be this guy. and my daughter was 3 months old, and I decided I wanted to be a father, and that was my beginning of my sobriety. And Krista has a similar story.
Do you want me to say something?
What? Just real
Well,
quick. I mean, that wasn't a dramatic pause.
I can relate so much with the loving family and supportive, and then them wanting to try to do whatever. They just didn't understand how to help us, and they thought they were helping us. And every time I would get arrested, they'd bond me out, and I was enabled, but they didn't realize they were enabling me, and they loved me so much. And I can relate so much to that, and that, like, it's not our parents' fault we turned out so crazy. Like, that's a myth we got to break too. Like, parenting does not lead people
Right.
to addiction. Like, that's huge.
It is. Yes.
And I have a heart like you, but I have made fun of people. But I don't anymore, because I found Jesus, and it's completely changed my whole outlook on everything. And your story, this is so good. You need a movie. We got to make a movie. We got to get you a movie made on this, and I need her book too.
It's
oh my goodness.
my story is sometimes I'll have somebody say, "Oh my gosh, I got to this part in your book," and it's just hard to believe that I survived it and all of this happened. And then even, I'm about to finish my second book, The 7 Years of Trials and Tribulations in My Sobriety. The stuff that's even taken place in my sobriety is wild. And, I feel like it's all over with now, and I can go forward in my purpose in who I'm supposed to be, for sure. Because it's been wild, and my story. I have to be proud of myself. I'm proud of all of us. Everybody's rock bottom doesn't look the same, but it's just as serious for everybody because it's personal. So even though one person's rock bottom might not seem as bad as somebody else's, it was still the other's rock bottom, and it's a big deal. And we all rise, and it's a big, it's important we tell our stories, because somebody could be listening feeling like they can't do it, and we're proof that it can be done. So I believe in telling my story, but I refuse to waste my testimony. I cannot not I have to tell everybody what God's done for me. And I'm a normal Christian. Christians really mess things up for people.
Mm-hmm.
They're judgmental and have no sense of humor, and they want to point fingers, and that's just not the type of person I am. It's like I'm trying to fix that too. I'm trying to break that stigma of how Christians act, especially towards addicts. I will never forget how I felt when somebody would preach down at me, and I refuse to be that. So that's what's most important to me about my testimony, is to be like, okay, I'm a normal human being. This is what God did for me, and I can still laugh and have fun. And sometimes I'm listening to worship music, and sometimes I've got Dre on. I'm Gen X. It's just, I'm a normal human being.
I'm a Gen X too. I feel that exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. And a normal Christian. I love everything about that too. We've got some new friends, Andy McKay, who's watching from Scotland right now. I'm telling you, we got a lot of. We're not internationally known. We're not internationally known, but we're known to rock a microphone.
Because I get stupid. Outrageous.
Amber James is watching from DeQueen, Arkansas. Casey Ray, love you, Casey. That's free stuff right there. Charlotte's Krista's best friend.
She knows the old Krista, so she has seen it.
Mac Niven, you've made a few comments on here, but I love Jesus. I'm a generation of moon spinners and alcoholics. Once I touched the drink, I was hooked. I know all about that, Max. Thank you for sharing. If anybody has any questions for Nicole as we're going, feel free, throw them in the comments, and Nicole will answer them as we go. We usually have a runner going along the bottom that asks for sobriety dates. We love to see sobriety dates. Put them in the comments. We love to hear, because you said it, Nicole. This place right here, this live stream is a place of positivity, of love, and we are proud of everyone and all the time that they have, whether it's 2 days or 30 years. And our testimonies, our stories is what we have to share. And
Yes.
and we do this TikTok thing every morning. I know I just talked about it, but 2 days ago we had this gentleman on there that was just spouting all sorts of negative, and and it was a great conversation, super uplifting. And he comes in, and instead of just ignoring it or blocking, we jumped in head on. And he made 3 or 4 comments, and by the end of the comments, he kind of was changing his story. And
It's
it
like
was
thanking us almost.
Nicole, it was the most beautiful thing in the world. So what you just said about sharing testimony, it's the most important thing. People have to
It
see
is.
that there's hope. We have hope.
One of my
And
favorite things about Nicole is that she makes videos for people congratulating them. They'll comment their sober day and she'll reply back in the
Yeah.
comment, and like
I
she's
dance
so
for 'em.
uplifting. Like I want to cry because it's so beautiful, and it's just, it means so much to that person. It means a lot to the people just watching, like that she like literally dances and
Yeah,
cheers
I
and sings
dance.
to them, and it's so powerful.
I do a recovery dance. It's I think it's important to celebrate people, and so much judgment comes along with addiction, and it's so misunderstood. And some people just don't have people rooting for them. So
the recovery dance, you better watch out. We might steal that. I got a spinny chair. I might be
there you
spinning
go.
before the day's over, because Justin Long
I,
celebrates
That's my
2 years
boy.
on the 17th.
That's
Love
my
you.
boy right there.
that's what's
Love you. Love
my
you,
boy.
Justin. Keep going. It just gets better. And we
It
got other
does.
people. Kelly Cordell, 12/21/24. So you're going to have a year on December 21st. Love you. Keep going. Audrey from Quebec, Canada, and works with people. There's Katie Bugs. Katie alias 7/22/24. Katie, love you. Thank you for sharing with us. Amber James, 2. There's a lot of 2s in that. You'll never forget that sobriety day.
No, that's a good
2.
one. That's a
That
good
is
one.
a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. So tell us more, Nicole. Let's get into it. You tell us you're in penitentiary. And this was, and then 3 days later, you got sober.
Well, right. I threw it all out, and then I get apprehended. But the thing is, guys, my story is gory. It's gory. So I was shooting up, and I had MRSA. 3 months beforehand, almost lost my left breast. They were going to remove it, and I got lucky and they didn't. But I was just covered. I had 72 abscesses. I did not look human. It was rather disgusting, to say the least. And before I cried out to God on the 26th of December, I had a feeling that I was about to die. I could feel it, and I was right. 3 days after my arrest, I collapsed and was in complete kidney failure. My kidneys, my GFR was at 9%. And I don't remember the collapse. I just, remember waking up as an inmate at LSU in Shreveport in the basement area. And I wasn't scared, oddly enough. I knew that God had answered my prayer to get me sober, so I had faith that I wasn't going to die there. I was more concerned about the detox. I'll be very honest with you. I was in such heavy withdrawal, and they're not going to give you anything to help you, period. I had 17 seizures. I still have the scar on my ankle from the cuff. because they had my ankle cuffed to the bed, and I just kept having these seizures. Um, and all I could do was pray. It was all I had. I was alone in a room. And I say this often, and I actually yesterday when I preach in prisons. So yesterday I had a new class, and I was like, I'm an extremely I hate to use the term vain because I suffer from I suffered from body dysmorphia, but I do care overly what I look like. And when I got arrested, my hair had grown past my bottom and was matted. It was completely matted. Um, so the withdrawal process was so bad. I'm having seizures. I've got just abscesses all over my body, and a nurse came in that was kind to me, and she clipped my hair off to about right here, helped clean me up, and just really sat and talked to me and made me feel human. And it mattered, you know. um I had not seen my family in a couple of years, and I have a close family. My oldest son would sneak out to see me, but I hadn't seen my baby son in years, and that had destroyed me. And I am a daddy's girl to the fullest, and I had not seen him. And I remember laying there thinking, your youngest son doesn't even know who you are. And what is your family doing? Like, it was like my faculties had started to come back, thinking of the damage that I had caused, and looking down at my body and seeing all these abscesses, and having to think of the abuse from my ex-husband, who was doing 6 years for what he had done to me. Um, and all I could do was have faith that it would get better. And I just started to pray, and the nurse kept coming in, and she said, "We keep testing you for AIDS, and it's coming back negative, and we just don't understand," because they thought I was in stage AIDS. And I was like, I'm shooting up Subutex, and it's got talc in it, and that's not supposed to be in your veins. So it was coming out, and then that they had to come in with infectious disease and everything, and miraculously I had nothing. But I felt like it wasn't going to end. That is a hard one. 3 8 milligram subs a day with somewhere between 10 to 15 bars a day. Cold turkey is no joke to come off of. It was 90 days before I could walk across the room again. It was terrible. But I started to find myself. And when people ask me, like, why do you say you're recovered? My answer is this: detox and Jesus. When you detox as brutally as I did, you are rebirthed. I needed to feel the pain. I needed to understand what I had done to myself. And in that process, it laid the foundation to not go back. And so I'm thankful for it. Very thankful for it.
Man, what you are a walking, talking miracle, Nicole. You are a walking, talking miracle.
Yeah.
And and I mean, we all are. And your testimony, all the stuff you're saying, it's just you've got you said it, a story of gore, and
Yes,
and
it's true story.
And
we
you
look
don't
back
think
at
it's
our.
ever going to end,
Mm-mm.
you know?
And you know
It,
what? So my buddy Mark just joined us. Mark is from my area as well. Mark he fell down an elevator shaft, 45 feet, and lived to tell about it, and lived to do drugs about it. And I'm telling his story because he won't mind, and he's not on here, and I can say whatever I want about him. And I love you, Mark. Thank you for joining. But he's a miracle, and we're all walking miracles. And the miracles that come with recovery. It's just you're right now, you already said, I'm going to ask you questions about now post recovery, but you've already said that you minister to
yes.
people in prison.
That's
and
that's where my heart's at.
That's goals right
so
there.
that's so admirable. Trying to help the helpless, and and give. There is a light and there is a shine. Everybody has a shine.
Absolutely.
Look at Mark says, "All good, brother," and he loves me more. I love that guy. He's all right. He's all right. So tell us. Let's talk about recovery now. Let's talk about life since.
Ooh,
And so I'm
The good
going to
part.
stop this December 26, 2017, right?
16.
2016,
Yes.
December 26, 2016. That's the same sobriety date as my little sister and my
Aw.
brother-in-law. And
You can't
they
make
they called me on Christmas, and I'd been sober a long time by then, and they called me, and I gave some tough love, and the next day I took both of them to detox, and they've both been sober ever since. But did you know married couples can't go to detox simultaneously, at least not here in Indiana? And so I had to take them to two separate detoxes, which was probably for the
That's
best.
I
I
mean,
know,
I can see where it
I
would
can
be
I can
for.
see it too, but it was baffling when it first happened.
See, and here's my opinion on that. Not that anybody asked, but I feel like an assessment should be done. Like some couples would benefit going through it
Yeah.
together. And then you've got the toxicity that needs to be separated. So I feel like an assessment should be done before that call is made. That's like I said, that's just my opinion, but
Yeah. But men are
Matt,
different.
Matt, we got another friend from TikTok that joined, Jaleesa. That's sober mama, from
She's
TikTok.
the one who makes the jewelry.
Love you, sober mama. Okay, so now we're gonna get into so the topic that we have today is sober and victorious, which is with Nicole Victorious. I love that name. That's almost as many aliases as Katie has, but Nicole Victorious. Let's talk about the victory now. Let's talk about the victory over the devil. Let's talk about how we got past and how we moved on, because there's so much gratitude that comes with the praise, and I can't wait. I can't wait to hear you start talking about this stuff. I'm already hyped.
okay. Well, for starters, one of the main things in my life that I learned that has really helped me in recovery, especially after what happened after recovery, is to praise through the storm. Um, I live by that because it is the game changer. And so I'm in prison, and my release date's coming up, and I'm so ready to get home because my daddy showed up immediately, in incarceration, and, really helped me get through it. And my stepdad has this idea that I should come to a different city, which relocating was smart. But I was hoping that that was not going to happen. And my aunt, of all things, was in Mississippi and ran into a church lady named Gloria, and they start talking, and she's like, my niece needs a place to go, yada yada yada. And so Gloria's like, oh, there's a place here in Alexandria, Louisiana, where she can go at my church, yada yada yada. And it's hard to get into, but we'll talk to the pastor's wife because it's a gigantic church, and see if we can work it out. And when I called home and they said that they were allowing me to go there, I was like, are you serious right now? Like, I've been in prison for 2 years. Like, I don't want to go to a women's shelter, but we got to trust God, right?
Mhm.
And I did trust God. So I get out of prison and I meet Gloria that day. And 2 days later in church, in her arms, I received the Holy Ghost, which is not something that I hate to say that I didn't believe in it, but I was raised Southern Baptist and was taught that that was a thing of the past and not the thing of now. And it happened for me. And, I felt God say, you're safe, it's over. And it gave me courage. And Gloria was at the foot of the water as I was baptized. And 2 days later, I was back up at the church, and I literally crash into this 6'4" man, who nearly knocks me on the ground because we hit so hard. And he says, "Wait a minute, I think you know my mom." And I was like, "The only person I know in this town is Gloria." He said, "That's my mom."
Oh.
And the man that I crashed into is my husband.
I love these stories.
Yeah, it was, I mean, my aunt and his mother weren't even in the state of Louisiana where we all live. And they ran into each other. And, you know, like I said, I get baptized in the water, and then I meet Brandon. And I was brought here for him, not the women's shelter. And it was kind of funny because here it is at that time, I'm 39, and I'm in this women's shelter crawling out the window at night, running through the parking lot to go sneak and see my husband because you wasn't allowed to date in this program that I was in. But, and I tried really hard not to like him. Like, I really did. Like, I did. I was like, I do not want to, and I just, it was like, meant to be type thing. And we started dating him. And my favorite thing, my husband's a published author as well. He was addicted to meth, and we're polar opposites on addiction. And on our first date, we sat down and we told each other every swinging, ugly, awful thing, so there would be no secrets. That was our first date. And it laid this foundation for this beautiful friendship, that is needed in a marriage. And I had horrible PTSD. Like I said, my ex-husband nearly killed me. And I'm trying not to trust this, man, but I trust him, it's like, and I don't trust easy. And it hadn't been but like 2 months when we got busted. And I'm like, this is so silly. Like, I'm nearly 40 and I'm in trouble for sneaking around. But like I said, I felt like God had put us together. And they gave me the choice. They said, you have to leave here, or break up with him or whatever. And so I called him up. I was like, he said, Nicole, put everything you own in a suitcase and I'm picking you up.
Aww.
And I was like, okay. So I did. And there I am, 2 months out of prison on parole on the side of the road holding a suitcase, thinking, please, Lord, don't let this be another crazy, toxic relationship. But I knew in my heart that it wasn't. And we had decided, that we wanted to give our life to God, and we had a purpose. And you have to understand my husband's background, how he was raised. It's totally different than me. And so he was like, I don't think we should be living together. We should get married. And I'm just kind of like, what? But we did. We got married within a couple months of meeting. And we had this fairy tale wedding in this mansion, and real professional fireworks went off. And my favorite thing about it is when we said our vows, we didn't look at each other. We looked up and promised God. And I had no idea that it was possible to be this happy sober, to have a happy marriage. And of course we fight and have normal arguments, but he would never call me out of my name. He would never hit me. He would never cheat on me. And we had been married about 2 or 3 months when he was like, I want to open up sober living. But backtrack. We've been married 48 hours when we get a knock on the door, and it is CPS. His ex-wife had gotten in trouble, and some serious trouble, and it was his 2 youngest daughters. He's got 5 daughters. 3 of them are grown, or we wouldn't have gone out on a second date.
My
I'm
goodness.
telling you that. That's a lot of kids.
That's a lot of girls.
Yeah, right. And girls are mean. Girls are mean. I said it.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, had
Hey,
they
Nicole,
been little,
Nicole, I
had
gotta
they,
stop you 1 second because there was a line that you said that I want Megan, if you're listening, can you put this in the comments? Oh, Joel from the Sober Session just joined. Joel, you're gonna love this line. I had to write it down. I mean, you said it, and I grabbed my pen so fast I had to write this down. Megan, can you type in "praise through the storm"?
oh yeah,
Ooh, Nicole, that one hit. That one hit hard.
I
Praise through the storm.
and I can give you,
Oh,
yeah, I can give you two examples of how it worked. I got up every morning in prison and thanked the Lord for putting me there. And every single day, I would get some form of knowledge or gift or give back that a blessing was coming. It might not be tomorrow or even next week, but when you praise through the storm, the blessing is going to come. And in my recovery, after my release, I dealt with something with my health that was absolutely terrible. And I literally every single day worshiped the Lord, and everybody thought I was crazy. And my miracle happened. And I'll get into that in a minute, like when we get to that part of it. But so CPS shows up and they're like, here's these two kids. And Addie was 5 and Patience was 10. And first off, I'm a boy mom. Okay. I don't know anything about girls. And I also had not regained custody of my youngest. So it was almost kind of like salt in a wound. Like I've got to raise somebody else's kids and I don't have mine. But when you get married, you're marrying everybody, and we knew that. So I mean, yeah, we knew that part of it, but I'm very transparent and honest. It doesn't mean that I wasn't scared to death. It doesn't mean that I was thrilled to death at all times to be having to do that, not having my own child. And I instantly was hit with, okay, I've got to do this. And I choose to look at things as the mistakes I made in my addiction, everything comes around full circle. And a lot of times I've gotten to experience what I put other people through.
Mhm.
And I learned from that. So, my mom and my stepdad had my boys while I was, messed up. So here it is now, the tables have turned. I've got somebody else's children. And it was scary. It was very scary, and I didn't have a lot of faith in myself because I didn't have my own son. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to do the best that I can. And I did, and I fell in love with them, and I wanted to support their mother because how in the world could I be who I am with my testimony and then give another female an issue because her main issue was about a man that had come into her life and messed everything up, just like my ex-husband. So I had to look at it that way. Like, okay, I don't want to keep your kids from you forever. We're gonna get to rehab. We're gonna get you okay. And today she is. She has been for like 5 years. And I'm raising these girls, and I am trying to be the best daughter that I can be for my family and reclaim everything. And Brandon decides he wants to open up sober living in the process of this. So we start to open up sober living homes, and things are going pretty smoothly. Then odd things start happening to me. um my hands start to turn like black and purple. My weight would change like 10 to 15 pounds sometimes in 2 days with fluid. I would have problems with my memory. um I would slur when I would speak. The amount of pain that I was in was unimaginable. And here it is, I'm an ex opiate junkie. I have to learn to deal with it. And I'm trying to go through life, and all I want is my son back. And for me to be able to stay sober without that for as long as I did is a miracle in itself, because had I been told you're going to get clean and you're going to have to wait 7 years to get your son back. I don't know how well that would have gone over with me. I don't know if my mind could have processed that. Like, would the sobriety have happened? But I keep getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And they do an MRI, and they find 17 lesions on my brain. And they tell me that I have multiple sclerosis. And something deep inside me said, this just does not make sense. Like, I don't think this is it. And, a lot of people thought I was in denial. And while this is going on in 2020, I go viral for saying I was in prison on TikTok. And everybody thinks that's hysterical because I guess I don't look like their idea of an inmate. And I'm having to pretend to be well on the media, raise girls, want my son, and still be sober. And I've never really, I don't struggle with wanting to use. I just don't. I haven't. But I do struggle with the things that make me use, like, stress and anxiety and things like that. And then my my fingers start to look twisted, and they diagnosed me with rheumatoid arthritis. And I'm just like, are you serious? Like, I've flatlined twice. I've been dead for 7 minutes. I've been to prison. I've had all these things happen. I got sober, and now all this is happening. And why? I could have chosen to get mad, but I praised through the storm. I praised every single day. I just kept thanking God, and I kept knowing that something was going to break and it was going to make sense. And on a Saturday in January, I woke up one morning and I looked at Brandon and I said, I'm going to get my answer today. And he said, your answer for what? I said, my answer for my health. And he was like, Nicole, what do you mean? I said, I'm just telling you, I can feel it. I'm about to get my answer. And about 2 hours went by, and my rheumatologist called me, and she said, Nicole, you didn't tell me that you had breast implants. And I said, well, I didn't think it mattered. Obviously, about it. It's in my chart. And she said, I think you have breast implant illness. And I was like, okay. And she said, are you willing? I said, yes. Yes, I'm willing to take them out. And
Get them out.
yeah, pull them out, pull these suckers out. And I mentioned I have body dysmorphia, self-esteem issues. So it was brave for me to say, take these out. I don't want any reconstructive surgery. We're not replacing them. And if they just look like something deflated into form, Brandon, I hope you love me, because, I just want to be normal. It had gotten so bad I couldn't drive. My vision was blurry. I would get confused. It was terrible. And within 2 weeks of my implants coming out, my rheumatoid arthritis went into remission. I do not have MS. The lesions are more than likely from the overdoses and the abuse that I took from my ex-husband, and I am fine. And that praising through the storm is what got me there.
Mhm.
They tried to put me in pain management 3 times. And I was like, nope, I'm going to be overweight and homeless in 10 minutes if you do that. So we're not going that route. And I made it. So you don't ever really know what's going to happen once you get sober, and you've got to be prepared. You've got to be prepared to deal with what comes at you without drugs. And it is possible. I'm proof of that. I'm definite proof of that.
We talk a lot about living life on life's terms, Nicole. This is your story. I'm telling you, we talked about you're a miracle, and life on life's terms. Life is hard. Things get thrown at you all the time, and we talk about being on a honeymoon, right? You get into that honeymoon phase of recovery where everything's just good and you're just good, and that could be every day. When we talk about sober and victorious, we're victorious even when we're losing, because
Absolutely.
we have a chance today,
Mhm.
and that your message is just so powerful, so poignant. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. So my boy Joel from the Sober Sessions, I've been corrected by saying just Sober Sessions, so it's the Sober Sessions. He posts some magical content, and I told him praise through the storms. I knew he wouldn't let me down, but he wrote praise through the storm. We love to praise God when all is going well in our life. It is when we forget to praise the Lord when we're in the storm, when life's us, when the bank account is red and life gives us the 1-2 punch. The storm doesn't mean he's left you. Sometimes it's proof he's carrying you through.
Yes.
I tell you, I'm telling you, Joel
Yes.
never lets me down. Joel is our guy. The Sober Sessions. Megan, make sure you put the Sober Sessions in there. Nicole, how do people get in touch with you? We got. I want to put that into the comments so people. We got your Facebook page and
my Facebook page, and my TikTok is Nicole Victorious. If you put that in there, you'll find me. There's my second is Nicole Victorious Sober one, I think, but Nicole Victorious is going to make you find me.
Okay, Megan, can you please put in Nicole Victorious's Facebook page? There it is.
I sent her
my Facebook
page.
her
the links.
Yeah, my Facebook page is Nicole Pearson Shatanya, and I know I'll have to spell that last name.
And then if you just post Nicole's link tree, we got some people. Sober dates. Andy McKay, 8 September 2022. God bless you, Andy. That's so awesome. And I saw another one in here that I am excited. Gary Gold, June 26, 2025. Gary's got a month and a half. We're proud of you, Gary.
Yes, we are.
We're proud of you. Keep going. It just gets better. It just gets better. I wish we could just scream this from the mountaintops instead, and granted we've got Facebook Live, we've got TikTok, we've got all this stuff that we can share this message with now. But man, I just wish we could just get more people out there, more people that are suffering, that don't think that there's another way, then and there is another way. And Nicole, your story shows them there's another way. And even, you get sober, you got all these medical things, these medical issues. And people, go back out because of medical issues.
Yeah,
because
you want to give up.
Because they're in pain and they turn their back on God because they think God is doing this to them. God's not doing anything to you but loving you and wanting you to do better. And when you go out and you focus on helping other people, the good things come to you. That's the way it works, And you've had Krista up there, every time you're in your story. I just watch Krista. With her. And she makes all these.
I'm like agreeing with everything. Awesome. It took me 9 years into my recovery for me to really start praising in the storm. And you got to realize that's when God is working. I keep saying, God, this is when God's working the hardest. You keep praising, and it's not on our time. It's not what we want. It's what He wants for us. It's God's plan. And I love that you have got such a great connection with Him where you hear Him loud and clear. Like He told you were going to find out that day. And
yes,
I believe it.
And I struggle. I get emotional thinking about it. Yes, I have a very, very strong connection with the Lord. And I have overcome things that, it's insane, the things that I've overcome. And I don't know why He chose me.
I do.
Well, thank you.
See it.
I don't. I get overwhelmed, and it's like I don't feel worthy enough and everything. And then I teach everybody else that they're worthy because they are. But then when it comes to me, it's like, it's so heavy. Like, what does He see in me? But I have to trust it. And then, I had the hardest time forgiven myself for letting my children down. Like, that was the number one thing. And, you know, my oldest son has alopecia, and that's actually how I went deeper into addiction. Um, it, I get, like I said, I get emotional that the Lord has picked me to tell my story, and he allowed me to live through, because the second time I flatlined, I definitely was nowhere near heaven. It was very scary. And I try to do my best to represent God, and it's overwhelming that he loves me. But I guess what I'm trying to say is the hardest thing for me was to forgive myself. And then I had to remember that when Jesus hung on the cross, minutes after he had been beaten to the point that his ribs were showing, he said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do."
Mhm.
And if he can hang on the cross and die for me and forgive in that moment, how can I not forgive myself? He expects that of me. And so that's what made me forgive myself. But even when people come to me and they're like, "Will you pray with me?" or whatever, I get so honored by it, because I should be in hell. I should be. And it's a big deal, and we're all worthy. You know, I'm not any more important than anybody else. We're all worthy. I do have a gift of discernment, and I do, you know, pray in tongues and things like that, and everybody can do that. But it's just like, when I think about how bad my addiction was, to where I literally had a belt around my neck shooting up in my face, that he picks me to tell it.
Mhm.
It's an honor.
It's so amazing, Nicole. Tiffany said to Nicole, she said she lived life on life terms and kicked its ass.
Yes, I
I
did.
love that, Tiffany. Tiffany, amen. Thank you so much for being
You
here.
know,
So,
Nicole's she's a Barbie too, a prison Barbie. They call her
Yes,
Barbie.
that was my prison nickname. That was probably the most scared that I got in the system. I just knew this 88-year-old inmate. She was so mean. Like, there's two ways you go. Like, especially with the lifers like that, they either find God and they're the most pleasant, awesome people you've ever met, or they're like mean as a snake. And this one was so mean, and I didn't the big mop bucket, I knocked it over and got some of her stuff wet, and I just was like, "Here it is, you're gonna die." And she was like, "Why don't you get out of here? Prison in Barbie," is what she told me, and to get out of her way or whatever. And she meant it as a slang, but I mean, as hateful. But then my friends in the system were, it stuck, you know, and that's what they called me, was prison Barbie. But it didn't start off as a compliment. She was making fun of me bad.
we got Michaela Bailey, who's sober since June 18th, 2021. We love you, Michaela. Thank you for joining. Our friend Sober for Sanity, who's another TikToker.
Oh, I love that. Sober for
Gave
sanity.
Yeah.
gave some love, and we have a Kevin who's throwing a few naysays at us, I think, and this might be the same Kevin that comes
Well,
on
I'm
our
on
TikTok.
TikTok behind the scenes right here. So,
Oh,
and I told
Kevin,
them I was over here, and he was asking.
Kevin says he said something really profound. Whereas you came into recovery for a new identity, and you still get the old one, and you most certainly do, Kevin. That's we do. We're still the same people. You ever heard of the term sober horse thief? You know, if I don't change my character defect, my shortcomings, the things that, I was doing, I'm still me. I'm still, I tell people that because I don't hate drinking. I don't hate drugs. That's none of my concern to hate that anymore. And I tell people it takes most people 2 or 3 drinks to get where I am naturally, because God's given me the gift of gratitude and I love life. So I'm still just as crazy and talk just as much trash and have as much fun as I
Well,
ever did
yeah.
before. In that case, my identity is the same. But that sober horse thief, every day I'm trying to make him a little
Wait,
better.
does
So
it have to
Kevin,
do with leading a horse to water? Is that why they say that?
Kevin, thank you for your comments, brother. We appreciate you. We love you. And there's a couple other comments that were really good in here. Um, the sober session. Joel said, "God picks from the pit, not the pedestal." And Nicole, I'm telling you that's why we love Joel around here. Joel's our guy.
And
Crystal Lynn,
Anthony
Anthony
Owen from
Owen.
Anonymous Podcast.
Anthony Owen, thank you for joining us, brother. Okay, so we got something free to give away. I love giving away something free. And Nicole has a book. And Nicole, what's the title of your first book?
Victorious, my path to
And
redemption.
you've got it right there, don't you? Can you show us
Yes, I
the cover?
absolutely do.
Look at how
Victorious.
pretty that's a good looking book
Yeah,
right there.
but you want to see real pretty? Are you ready?
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's pretty.
Hey, who doesn't
Oh.
like a good before and after? Okay.
Is
Love
that
the
not
before.
terrible?
All right, we are going to give away a free copy of Nicole's book to the first person that goes into Nicole's Facebook messages and says, "Hey, Johnny sent me," and that will be a free book, Nicole's book, and she will autograph it and sign it, and
Absolutely.
autograph it and sign it. The same thing. I'm being redundant now. Tell us a little bit about your book.
It's my story all the way up until Brandon and I got married. It goes over my childhood and the relationship that I had with my family, and then it's my addiction, how it started and how severe it got. And I choose to laugh at things because sometimes you just have to. But some of the experiences, like I escaped. I say escaped from a rehab, and it was like 2.5 hours through the Kisatchie Forest, dragging a suitcase and a Bible, and then after my first flatline, I managed to get out of behavioral med, ran across the highway in nothing but a hospital gown, barefoot, to call my ride. I've been through some things. There's a lot of detail in the physical abuse, and it is my personal encounter with God and what I did with my prison time, and uh, it stops right where we started with the sober living. And like I said, I'm working on my second book, but my husband and I just finished a book, From Fear to Faith, which is our approach to recovery, the steps and tools that we used that worked for us, because we are considered, I hate that we're considered controversial, but we are.
I love that.
Nicole, thank you so much for being on here. Tiffany, our friend Tiffany, she said done. So I believe Tiffany is the one
She's
who's going to
probably
be
the
winning
first.
the
Okay.
free book.
Isn't
So
that fascinating?
you might be sending a book to Canada, and we love Tiffany. We love all you guys. Thank you all for joining us today. Kevin, we
I
love
see
you
his
so
face.
much.
You see his face now.
Kevin, we love you so much. And Katie Alias, she said she sent in a message too, and so it's going to be a fight, Tiffany versus Katie. But thank you all
Come
for
tomorrow
joining us.
morning, they'll find out who won.
Nicole, thank
Yeah.
you so much. We
Oh no,
appreciate
thank you.
Your,
I love telling my story.
your story is so awesome, and this has been incredible. And to everybody out there, they want to reach out to you. Hit up Nicole's Facebook. We've got the link in the comments, and look into her books and all that other stuff. And Nicole, you got to come on our TikTok with us tomorrow now.
Hey,
And
I'm
you're
in.
gonna.
I love it.
I'm
Now
telling you, it's so fun.
I'm in. Now that I've got my health back and I just got back from Alaska, I did get some closure from my father's death, and I feel
Aw.
like this is I've finally entered my time to where I can really do my purpose. So like I'm getting way more hands on. So I'm in for a TikTok. I'm in.
Love, love, love. All
Love
right,
you.
everyone. God loves you. So do we. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.